Afternoon, flight fans. This is Steve. Welcome to episode 4 of my hangar, my collection of X-Plane aircraft that I like to fly and that I think are interesting enough to make a video of. I'm not going to make a video of everything I've got. There's a lot of stuff in there that X-Plane provides that I don't even look at. But this is not an X-Plane craft. This is something else. What you're looking at here is the Diamond DA62, made by Diamond Aircraft, located in Wiener Neustadt, Austria. They also have a plant in London, Ontario, Canada. And it's a terrific little 4-place aircraft, twin, and flies beautifully, which we will see in a couple of minutes. The first thing we want to do, we'll just take a quick look around the aircraft. You can see panels and doors that open. This is the Aerobask version of this aircraft. You can actually pick up a real one from Diamond for about 1.3 mil. This one didn't cost 1.3 mil. It was considerably less than that because this is the Aerobask version of it. And like everything Aerobask, it is sharp as a tack. It's got terrific features and detailing and beautiful reflections and all that good stuff that you like with a great sim aircraft. And also, like Aerobask, it has this little control panel over here. They're very nice. They make it go away, which is great. But if you pop it, it pops up this little screen, and in here you can do such things as make all those gratings go, or those cans go away, pylons I should say. And now you see I'm sitting there in the cockpit, so we can close up the baggage door and the rear passenger door. We don't have any rear passengers today. I do have a co-pilot with me though. We can close her door, and now my door. Fuel's all set. We're going to take a little flight, not too long, from here in Livermore, California, east of San Francisco, where we flew yesterday in the Pilatus. Or I'm sorry, the Pipistrel Pantera. Pilatus is yet to come. So we're going to go here from Livermore down to Watsonville. Watsonville is located down near Santa Cruz. So we're going to do a little hop over the bay and down over San Jose and on into the Santa Cruz area, do a U-turn and come back and land on runway 2 at Watsonville. So without further ado, let's go inside the cockpit, and you see we've got it set up already. I've got a flight plan set up here. Let's just check that out by tapping the screen. This, by the way, is the Garmin G1000 navigation system, and I was surprised today when I did a little research on the Diamond DA62 that airplane actually does have the G1000 navigation system in it. So what you're looking at is what you get in a real Diamond DA62. So I'm going to unclutter that screen and then check my flight plan. Yep, looks good. Looks like it's starting down here, which is fine. So let's leave that alone. I just want to check, make sure we've got, yeah. Let me just back up there and make sure. There, okay. Menu, activate leg. Yes, I guess that, there we go. There, now that's active. All right, we can make that screen go away by doing that. Take a look at the FMC, not FMC, but the PFD screen. We've got an altitude set at 5,000. The baro is 2980. We're going to be using the GPS CDI for most of the flight. We may switch over to locator 1 when we get down to Watsonville for landing. It's not an ILS runway, but that may help us guide us in for the location. So I'm going to shift this over here like that, and that way I can just tap on that screen and make that go away. All right, last thing I'm going to show you here, if you look down in the glove compartment area, the armrest rather, underneath the armrest, you see some interesting controls. There's a set of headphones here, similar to what pilots would normally wear. And if you put your cursor here and rotate your mouse wheel, you can raise and lower the engine volume, and over here the air volume, the rushing air by the aircraft. So I'm going to leave that for the time being. What we do want to do while we're here, though, is just move these two levers up like that, which are fuel release levers. They're cross feeds, they're called there. You can lock them or unlock them there. There's also an auxiliary fuel pump down here, but we won't need that. And from there, we can go over and turn on the alternators, which are on. We can put on the master switches. We'll get the engine started, and then we'll put on the pitot heat. So the first thing is turn on the fuel pumps, like so. Excuse me, and then back up here. Looks like we're heading into that airplane, but I don't think we're going to go that far. Let's crank up one engine and see what happens. That looks pretty good. All right, let's try number 2. Yep, sounds good. Let me just goose our volume a little bit. I can always adjust that later. All right, so now we can turn the fuel pumps off. We can get the pitot heat on. And we've got our alternators on. We got all the lights on. We don't need the landing lights yet. I did some horsing around before starting this video, so some of these switches were already on. So we'll put some flaps down 1 notch and check out the surroundings. Yeah, it looks like we've got to do a little turn here to the right. So we'll let the park brake go. And turn to the right and head out toward runway, I think it's 26 that we're going to be taking. It's down this way. So that's going to take a few minutes to get down there toward the stop area on runway 26. Why don't I fade you out and fade you in at that point? Okay, there we are at the apron here on runway 26 right. Wind's in the right direction. Got our flaps down 1 notch. We can go ahead and turn landing lights on. And that's about all we really need to do here. Being a twin, you have to be a little careful on acceleration. It does have a tendency to get away from you. So I'll hope for the best on that. I get up to about 75, 78 knots down the runway and then slowly rotate and see if we can keep it on a straight line down to the end of the runway, which is what my friends all tell me to do. It's easier said than done. So we'll taxi on out here. Try to avoid that light fixture in the middle of the apron. "25 right, my bad, excuse me. I think I said 26. All right. Hang on for the ride. I'll be back to you in a second as soon as we get airborne and underway. Rep. Flaps up. Landing lights off. We'll put on the flight director. Let's zoom in a little bit on that. Flight director's on. We'll put it on nav and go for 8P. And it looks like that'll guide us around to the left. And then we'll do a flight level change up to our cruising altitude of 5,000. Right now we're climbing pretty well. Speed's holding in at around 111. You don't want to keep the throttles up full bore on this aircraft or it'll burn out the points. I've had that happen to me and all of a sudden your engines stop, freeze up. It's a bit embarrassing. So you want to just ramp it back a little bit. Keep the engine, you know, maybe around 90% as you make your climb. Which we are doing now. Nifty looking little aircraft. Similar in some ways to the Pantera in its aerodynamic features. But that's a single, this is a dual prop aircraft. That actually has a variable pitch prop, I believe, and this does not. Just jam the throttles forward and go for it. It's a beautifully detailed aircraft. Look at the stitching up here on the panel. Aerobask really does nice work. They put a lot of time and energy into little issues like that. Look at the grain on that panel. And if you were in the real aircraft, you'd probably see something very, very close to that. Here's the leather seats. Really nice stuff. There's a light system up here. You can turn the lights on by switching those switches. Oops. I don't know if that one goes on. Interesting. Not sure what's going on with that. All right. So, we are on our way. Let's pop this screen. To pop it, you just tap in the middle of the screen. And we can zoom out a little bit. As you see, this is the topo version of the map, or the terrain version. Oh, there it is. There it is. And you can have it on topo color, or you can make it black. And if you have terrain on, you'll see any altitude, any landscape things that are an issue to your flight, such as mountains that you may be about to fly into. You can also turn on airways. I don't see any there, but we will actually be on an airway in a few minutes. And back to topo. So, let me just zoom out a little bit. I'll show you the whole route. Not very long, but I'll go ahead and fade out here and come back to you, say, when we're down around Santee, which is actually Santa Cruz, I believe. So we'll pick you up back there as we start to make our approach into Watsonville. There we go. There, looks like the runway is pretty much ahead of us, so let's go ahead and start dropping altitude a little bit, say 300 feet, maybe 5. Get ourselves down to 600 feet. And let's switch over to locator 1. And that looks good. And I think what I'm going to do is go ahead and increase that drop. And we'll decrease our speed. And put in some flaps. And that'll slow us down. We want to be landing at about 75, 80. Somewhere in the 70s would be fine. And I don't know about that locator. I don't know that that's really doing it. So I think I'm just going to kill AP and handle it manually from here. You can see the runway clearly. That's nice. Unlike this morning when I couldn't see a darn thing until I was about 50 feet over it, coming in at a 30-degree angle. It was an interesting landing, as they say. Go ahead and drop the gear. No. All right, hang on. Let's do that right. All right, gear down. Keep our speed up. All right, I just want to check that gear again. Yep, okay, we're good. All right, got things back under control. Flaps down the 3rd notch. That's all there is on this aircraft. Very simple. Not the straightest approach I've ever done. All right. Well, I don't think I'm going to win any awards for that. But we're here in one piece. All right, let's pull off the runway here and find a place to park this. All right, flaps up. And I never turn on the landing lights. Uh-oh, bad. Oh dear. 3 demerits for that, right? Yeah, I was too tied up with all the flipping and flopping around we were doing. All right, let's go around here and do a UE around the Cessna. I think that's a Cessna. A big one. Okay. Here's another Cessna. Little 172. All right. Haven't figured out how to make my yoke brake button work smoothly. I have to just tap it in order to get kind of a smooth braking action. But I'll put the park brakes on. We've got the flaps all the way up. We can turn all the lights off. We can turn off the pitot tube. We can turn off the alternator. And we can look down here and we can turn off these two levers, which will pretty much kill the engine. And that's it, folks. That's the Diamond DA62. Very nice aircraft. Let's go ahead and shut things down here. Pop outside. We have to use our, we can get rid of that. We have to use our Aerobask little thing to open the door. And we'll let our co-pilot out. We don't have any passengers, so we'll take out, look around, and see what's going on in Watsonville. So thanks for joining me for that. It was fun, a little bit raucous. Not the best landing I've ever done, but I wanted you to see this, not so much for my landing skills, but for the airplane. It's a really nice, neat airplane. I like to fly it. So that's it. This is Steve. I hope you enjoyed that. If you did, just hammer down on that thumbs up. And if you have any questions, comments, the usual drill, fill it out in the comments section. And if you really like it, you can subscribe. I'm not winning any awards from YouTube this week for how many subscribers I've got, but that's okay. I'm not doing it for that. I'm doing it because I enjoy flying and because I enjoy sharing some of these things with you. And I hope you enjoyed it too. That's it. Steve out. I'll see you in a couple of weeks.